This week's podcast is brought to you by Selena's Seances. The Halloween Party Special is on this week to bring you any celebrity you want to entertain at your party, regardless of which plane is their eternal resting place. Selena's Seances guaranteed to raise your spirits.
Get it? Raising spirits has a double meaning because it's seances, but also, never mind. Here's Russ, a.k.a. Morrus of Ian World, and Peter Coffey of the Southampton Guild of Roleplayers with Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG talk.
Hello, and welcome to Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG talk. I am Morrus, aka Russ. And with me is my co-host, best known as the model and inspiration for the illustration of Robin the Boy Wonder on the cover of Detective Comics number 36.
That's fair enough, Russ. I think you'll find it was number 38, and that's because my legs are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Is that why you're always wearing such short skirts?
Well, of course. How else would you see them otherwise? It's not a skirt, it's a kilt.
There is nothing quite like the legs of a pale, pasty-faced Englishman.
Woohoo! Damn straight. Is it hard in here or is it just me? Yes.
Oh, it's just you.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wear the kilt. Anyway. Helps regulate my body temperature. So, Russ, speaking of pale and pasty-faced Englishmen, you're not looking 100% well today.
Yeah, I'm looking quite pale and pasty-faced today. Yeah, I got to admit.
I must admit, are you getting your makeup on early for Halloween?
Well, I spent the entire weekend Halloweening.
Ooh, that's a lot of weekend.
Yeah, last night was spent in Halloweening. Saturday night was spent out Halloweening, dressed in excellent, I might say, costumes.
Well, indeed, you John Starked it all the way up.
Jon Snow.
Jon Snow. Was he not Jon Stark? No, he was Jon Snow because he was completely illegitimate.
Exactly, yes. I was Jon Snow and Sharon was Cousin It.
Indeed, and also looked fantastic.
So, Peter, what in the world of RPGs has been catching your eye this week?
Oh, well, it's funny you should ask that because I've been very excited by a Filipino mythology-based game.
Oh.
And I'm going to try and pronounce it.
Go on then. It's always fun listening to you trying to pronounce things.
Almost as much as listening to you.
Listening to me just trying to talk at the moment, let alone pronounce things.
For a speak words good. You just keep telling yourself that. Mila Kanjan. What I've seen is 20 pages of the Kickstart guide, and I liked it. It was good. Really OSR simplicity. You got 3 main attributes that you roll 4d6 for, with sort of 5e value calculations for modifiers.
What sort of genre sort of thing? What's the theme?
Filipino mythology.
Which is?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's so interesting.
I don't know anything about Filipino mythology at all.
You know what? Obviously, there is mythology in the Philippines, because everyone has got it. But you know what? If someone had asked me before, like the other day, what is it? I would have had no idea. And now I'm starting to get a bit of a better idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So things that stood out, it's like quite a simple OSR system. Nice, simple, level dependent proficiencies, rolling some dice. Yeah, I like it. And then you've got, I'm going to try and say it, Utang na Bulong, I think it is.
Bless you.
Indeed. This sort of, it's a sort of a spiritual concept of barter. It's a bit like karma. In the guide, they say fertile land is abundant, people are scarce, loyalty and social value are important. I'm like, well, exactly that. That's pretty much what I said. They've got a variety of backgrounds you can have as well. There's like 3 Filipino, which I presume make a lot more sense in local context, and then you've got Sari, which are going to be people from India. Sangi, which are people from China. Yeah, and Sari Peninsulares, who are like Europeans travelling over.
So is this kickstarting now? Or
well, it's actually on Patreon.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, there was a Kickstart quick guide, or maybe I put quick guide, I meant quick Kickstart, I meant quick start.
Quick start, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it's got 3 classes, but again, specialists, are a bit like rogues, but they've got a lot more courtier, face, crafter roles to it. And you have medium, which is sort of a general purpose spirit triangler, doing elements, small gods, insects, animals. There's a lot of vocab. I'm getting out a fair bit of it. But I did actually have a chance to have a brief online exchange with the creator, and they seem like a pretty chill dude.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's one of my games that I would really like to play just to find out what all this interesting stuff is. And because, like I say, I've literally never heard of Filipino mythology.
Remind me again what it's called?
The link to the Patreon will be in the show notes, but as far as I can say, it's Mila Kanjan.
Say it 3 times fast.
Mila Kanjan, Mila Kanjan, Mila Kanjan.
Very good.
Yeah. Whether I'm mispronouncing it or not horribly, I really couldn't tell you. Because
I am sure you are, and I hope you are, because if you weren't, you would be...
Don't worry, I'm sure someone on the internet will correct me if I'm wrong. As I understand it, in the Philippines, they speak a mix of some Spanish words, but mostly Tagalog. So I presume it's a Tagalog word.
Okay, then.
But I don't know. Russ, what caught your eye?
My eye? Well, what caught my eye?
Yes.
My eye. Have you heard of something called Adventure Skeletons?
I am intrigued. Tell me more.
It is a 1-page RPG by Grant Howitt and Chris Taylor.
Oh, yeah. They're the guys that did Spire, aren't they?
Yeah. So basically, in this 1-page RPG, you play a skeleton. And basically the intro here. You're a skeleton bored of being told to guard some boring old dungeon by a wizard. So you dress up in some kit, you found on a corpse, and set off for the human dungeon, or village as they call it.
Okay, yeah. After the human dungeon, yeah.
Yeah, so it's very simple, like all these 1-page RPGs are.
Yeah.
So you can choose from, you roll for 1 of 6 ancestries, which are orc, elf, dwarf, goblin, human, and skeleton.
So your skeleton has a skeleton ancestry.
I guess, yes. I think that's how it works. Okay. Again, you sort of roll for your equipment, so you might end up with, I don't know, a scimitar and a bow and arrows, or some metal armor or something.
Yeah.
And then you just sort of like roll random things about the village/dungeon you're approaching, like it's dark secret and what treasure is there.
Yeah.
And then some very, very basic, combat rules and how you can reattach parts if body parts come off.
Mm-hmm. And all of this is just on one page?
All on one page, and not just on one page, that includes the illustrations. So all the actual text is probably only about 3/4 of a page there. And then you've got some nice illustrations. There's this character sheet, which is a sort of hand-drawn picture of a skeleton.
Right. With
little boxes next to your head, torso, right arm, right leg and stuff, because they can come off. And just a couple of lines for your name, ancestry, equipment, and favourite bone type.
Favourite bone type. Well, this game sounds like it's got a lot of potential to be humorous.
I thought it was suitable because it's Halloween.
Oh, indeed, yeah, absolutely perfect for the occasion.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
One page, link in the show notes, and it looks like if it's a Howard and Taylor special, like Honey Heist, you could probably run it in 2 hours in an evening.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
No, that's fantastic.
Yeah. All right, then, moving on.
Shall we do the news?
Shall we do the news?
I would love to do the news.
You reckon we should do the news?
We are a news podcast. We probably should do it.
There is that. There is that.
Oh,
do you get bored of news?
Well, only when it gets old. News hasn't got old on me yet.
Fair enough.
I'm loving the Ian World website logo at the moment.
Oh, yeah, the little pumpkin there.
Yes, it appears to have been impumpkinated, and quite frankly, that's great. Although I'm not sure it will give a result from 1 to 20 as reliably as your standard D20.
Have you tried rolling a pumpkin?
You know what? I never had. Maybe I should go pumpkin bowling later.
Look, you know how science works.
It's your house, Rex.
You have to do the experiment.
Fine, we'll try and get some pumpkins in.
Sadly, I have no pumpkin.
Yeah, or a bowling alley. I'm disappointed, really. Yeah.
A bowling alley. A bowling alley in this house, that'd be interesting. All right, then, let's do that news.
Yes.
Let us do the news.
So what's in the news, Russ?
Lots and lots and lots of things are in the news, Peter.
Fantastic. It's nice to be out of the shadow of Gen Con. It means we have something to talk about rather than just chatting nonsense to each other for hours.
So there's some more previews of Dungeon of the Mad Mage.
Ooh.
As you know, Dungeon of the Mad Mage has been delayed by 1 week.
Oh, dear.
due to printing issues, which means it's going to be coming out the same week as Ravnica.
So Ravnica, or
Ravnica.
that wascally Ravnica, is coming out on the same time as Dungeon and Mad Mage. So what we've got, Waterdeep, Dungeon and Mad Mage, and Ravnica, basically all at the same
It's
time.
like buses, basically.
Yeah.
Because, you wait all year for Wizards of the Coast to produce something, and suddenly they release two things on the same day.
Well, indeed, and even in the same week seems like quite a lot of stuff going on.
Well, what happened was they had some errors with the printing company or something like that, and they've had to push the release forward by a week, or back by a week, sorry. They've ended up overlapping, unfortunately.
Yeah, Wizards of the Coast don't seem to enjoy a lot of luck with printers, do they?
Yeah, I don't know who their printers are, but I assume it's some overseas printers. I don't know, though.
Well, presumably someone in America, maybe.
I don't know.
No. Well, it's just like, because the original Player's Handbooks, if you recall, there were a lot of problems with the printing on those. So it's not the sort of thing that they really want to have.
I think I got lucky. I didn't have any trouble, but I did hear of people that did.
Yeah.
And some binding issues as well. But Wizards of the Coast were really good at replacing those.
Yeah, because their customer service is amazing for that sort of thing. So, yeah, fair play to them.
Well, anyway, going back to Dungeon of the Mad Mage there is a big preview which old Nathan Stewart there, who's been sharing bits and pieces as part of his charity fundraising stuff, he has previewed 2 pages from the book.
Wow.
So it's a 2-page spread showing a section on adventure hooks and starting quests.
Oh, I love the picture that they got at the top of it. It's, I can only describe it as, there are various ways to describe it. A band of adventurers that we shall say are the worst for wear for drink.
I guess, yes, yeah.
They're on a rope, presumably on a bucket.
Being lowered into the yawning portal there.
And they seem very cheerful about being lowered down to their almost certain doom.
Yes.
And they don't really look like they're
They do seem quite happy about it, yeah.
Yeah. Enthusiasm. And doesn't that count for a lot? Yes.
Yeah. So this basically, you only see a little bit of it, but there's some sort of starting quests here. Include pay a harp a debt, search for Crescendo Rosnar, Throne of the Coronal, and some future quests like Eye of the Spider.
Yes, because last week we talked about the Fantasy Grounds version, which had quite a lot of the individual details. So it's nice that they've got it all nicely integrated.
Yeah. So this is like 2 pages talking about adventure hooks, starting quests. I mean, I'm quite looking forward to this book.
Yeah. There's been a bit of a dearth of high-level content because one of the issues has been that with every new adventure, you're going to have to basically go back to level 1. I'm kind of sick of level 1. Been there a lot. Yeah,
so this is level 6 to 20. 23 different levels of Undermountain, each with their own feel and theme. And a full detailing of Skullport. Apparently, they say that running the adventure with weekly sessions, which I assume they mean 4-hour sessions, I think is kind of the average, will take at least 8 months.
Yeah, wow. That sounds like there's a lot of stuff to that. And obviously, if you've got a role-play intensive group, then that could go even longer. So probably between Waterdeep and Dungeon of the Mad Mage, you've got, a year of role-playing content?
I guess, yeah. Yeah, so also previewed from Dungeon of the Mad Mage was the first page of Dungeon Level 15, which is called the Obstacle Course.
Ooh, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so this is...
those are some funny-looking elves they got up there. Are they Githyanki
they don't look very well, do they? No, I think they're Githyanki, yeah. So...
Give us... What's that one?
Githzerai.
Okay. Yeah.
So we got here level 15 of the dungeon, which is designed for 4 13th level characters.
Oh, cracky.
And that level is run by a beholder, a death tyrant.
Okay.
Which claims this obstacle course as its lair.
Right.
So the visitors to this level, they've got to contend with mechanical traps, magical traps, and an undead beholder named Netherskull. Also, nuisances from the elemental planes of Earth and Fire, and a band of Githzerai on a special mission.
Right, crikey.
That does look quite fun.
That does look loads of fun.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll put, again, link in the show notes, but basically it's the first page of that, just giving you a basic overview of what that level of the dungeon is like.
Nice. That sounds like Dungeons of the Mad Mage. Looks like it's going to be a quality product. We shall look forward to having a look at it once we get our hands on a copy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hint.
Right, next in the news. Judge Dredd. Kickstarter ended.
Yes, yes.
148,000 of your British pounds.
What?
Which is exactly $72,943,231 US, I'm told.
I think you're making it up, mate.
Maybe. It went stormingly well. Came out £148,000, all done. The PDF rewards were delivered to backers within a minute of it ending. Straight away. So they've all got those, and we're all in the process of sort of sorting out the print runs and getting the physical rewards out to people.
Sweet. For those of us listening along in American, wow, that 148,000 is a 189,799.
At least that's what it is today. It'll be something different by the time they hear this.
That's fair enough. I think that's probably your best Kickstarter ever.
Yes, yeah. It certainly
Fantastic. I like to think this podcast helped.
I think it was entirely responsible.
No, I think that's all the people buying stuff for us. That's going to be the main thing. But you must be very pleased.
I am very pleased.
So can we stop talking about Judge Dredd for a bit?
We can stop talking about Judge Dredd for a bit. What we can talk about, though, if you like, is Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
Oh, yes, let's.
Because there has been another playtest update.
Bum, bum, bum.
As you know, they keep updating the playtest and updating the rules, sending out surveys and questionnaires, and iterating it over and over again. And the game's coming out at Gen Con next year. And so this is rules update 1.5 has come up.
Oh, okay.
As a part of the Doomsday Dawn adventure path, for lack of a better word, the playtest series of adventures called Red Flags, in which your characters are pitted against the esoteric order to the shackles in an attempt to stop the Night Heralds. Sounds exciting, doesn't it?
Those were definitely words.
They were definitely words. I can see your eyes glaze over there.
I'm paying attention. What year is it?
Fantasy names. But the important thing about Red Flags, it's designed for high levels.
Yeah,
so that's kind of what they're testing at the moment. One thing about the 3.x system, like Pathfinder, D&D 3.5, 3.0 and stuff, is that when you reach higher levels, it does get very clunky and starts to get a bit wobbly.
Yes, well, you start playing Fantasy Avengers.
Yeah, you turn into superheroes,
and you can just fly everywhere.
Yeah,
and that would be fine if that was a stated design name. You know, if it said you play from zero to heroes, and then at this point you become Fantasy Avengers, I would have been a lot happier because I'd be like, I'd best make some sort of plans for that.
Well, I think that's 10 years in, I think you kind of know that's what you're getting into when you play a Pathfinder game.
That assumes a lot of things, like ever actually having played at high levels.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you can see that there's like really good stuff, and like some of these spells are ridiculously powerful. But it talks about threats to the village, threats to the town, threats to the realm, and then threats to the nature of reality. And I assume that nature of threats to reality, which is tier 4, 15, 20, it was going to be...
Is that D&D you're talking about now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
And high-level play, which they're play testing, which I think is a jolly good idea.
So this rules update 1.5, it's primarily focused on revisiting some spells and the death and dying rules.
Okay.
So on the spells front, a lot of the damage dealing spells have had a little bit of a boost in power. Sort of like the base damage values are increasing.
Okay.
But the scaling damage is staying the same. Yep. And also they're sort of testing some of the non-direct damage dealers. So stuff like Finger of Death or Save or Damage type spells. Or Save or Suck spells, as they sometimes get called.
Absolutely.
They're getting a bit of a playtest too.
Yeah.
Also, Death and Dying's got on another revisit. It's not the first time it's changed. So they're definitely sort of iterating different things with that. It seems that too many characters are dying in the playtest at the moment. No. And so they're trying out something new. This time they're trying out a flat DC for stabilisation, which is you're going to roll 10 on a D20, 10 plus your dying value. And your dying value is the number of times and the severity with which you've been knocked unconscious.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're less likely to recover if you get pounded into the ground like a tent peg on a frequent basis.
Yeah.
Seems fair.
Seems reasonable to me. So that's all still... I mean, they must be coming to nearly the end of this sort of playtest process because early next year they're going to be starting getting the final game ready for printing so that it can all be printed and delivered in time for Gen Con. Okay, it looks like Asmodee... which is the largest sort of hobby tabletop gaming company in the world.
Oh, they're the people that supply all your exciting stuff to people, aren't they? Like, if you want to buy Magic the Gathering cards or collectible card games or role-playing games or board games, then they are like the number one supplier, aren't they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
I don't know. There we go. Asmodee Group and its subsidiaries, they publish probably like, if you think of a sort of board or card game, there's a good chance that they've got their sort of fingers in that pie. So you might be talking like Catan, Ticket to Ride, Small World, Seven Wonders, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of the RPG stuff as well.
Yeah. And also they own Fantasy Flight Games.
Yep.
So, you know, they are a big company.
Major player.
They've just been bought by PAI Partners.
Wow, okay.
For 1.4 billion. So it's a financial investment and holding firm, just like the previous owner, which was Eurasio. That was also the sort of finance firm.
Right.
So they're not making any big changes to like the structure of the company itself.
Mm-hmm. They're just hoping that people will continue to buy board games.
Yeah, so presumably the new owners will just allow them to continue as they were, but, you know, who knows? Wait to see. Also, Asmodee itself announced an acquisition this week of ADC Blackfire Entertainment, which is a European distributor of games and toys.
Okay. Hopefully there will not be major changes in the industry, but I, for one, welcome our new financial overlords.
Do you like the occasional random table?
I think you know I do.
How would you like 67 pages of random tables?
Wow, 67 pages of random tables.
I can see the excitement in your eyes.
Because I like a good random table, but maybe not that much.
So Anatomy of Adventure is a 67-page book, so, you know, it's quite a small book, but published by Ian Publishing, which you will find charts that will enable you to create exotic worlds, NPC backstories, big bad evil guys, cults, graveyards, guilds, heists, islands, prisons, ships, taverns, towns, war camps, and wizards' towers.
Ooh, and you can roll a d12 and decide which one of those you want.
And it's sort of suitable for any fantasy RPG, including D&D or Pathfinder or any other fantasy RPG you might be playing.
Yeah, even the system neutral ones. Sounds good.
For example, taverns. We've got a sample page for the taverns here.
Yeah.
You would roll D20 twice. You would get your tavern name. So just pick two.
Oh, the Grumbling Turtle.
No, two numbers. Two D20s.
Oh, that's much harder. I don't know, 17-2.
17 and 2. So you would get the Fish and Dragon.
Fish and Dragon.
Sounds like a lovely place.
It does. I'm thinking some sort of harbour, and you've got like a vaguely, maybe an inland sea and something. So you've got like, you know, you go out fishing, but you've got to watch out for the dragon. Never know.
Well, maybe it's just badly pronounced, and it's not the Fish and Dragon, it's the Fishing Dragon.
The Fishing
and
Dragon.
There's just this dragon just sitting there with like a fishing rod just...
It's wearing a hat, because that's an essential part of fishing kits.
Right, so also, just a last news item, just to squeeze it in there. Over at Essen Spiel, which is a really, really big...
it's massive.
Yeah,
the biggest board gaming convention in Europe, if not the world. I've got a lot of friends over there right now.
Yeah. So apparently there's been a rash of thefts over there.
What? Oh, that's horrendous.
So it's going on right now. Not a rash of thefts. The convention is going on right now.
I think some people are back from it, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know an awful lot about it, but basically these were sort of targeting the cash boxes of vendors, and a couple of those that were affected were Hub Games and Gotha Games, because both of those were reported on their social media. So if you are at Essen Spiel at the moment, well, I suppose it'll be over by the time you hear this, but you know, there's some thieves wandering around there trying to steal the cash boxes of various vendors.
Oh, that's so disappointing.
Yeah. There's a little report here from Gotha Games. It's quite long, but we are shocked to report that thieves targeted our booth at the Spiel Essen yesterday, managing to get away with all the income generated during the fair. The incident happened after closing time when the booth was manned by 2 staff. Taking advantage of a long tiring day, one guy came to us for a small chat, while another sneaked behind and stole a trolley containing money, ID, documents, credit cards, and other personal belongings. We are even more shocked to learn that other publishers were targeted during the day. And then, you know, it goes on a bit longer, but, that's terrible.
Yeah, our sympathies go out to Gotha and Hub Games, and, you know, saddened that people would steal your stuff. It's just like, you expect at conventions it to be a nice, safe space for gamers to be gamers. And, having this sort of thing go on is just absolutely shocking.
Well, I think that's probably it for the news this week.
Yeah, sounds good.
That was a news-packed episode, wasn't it?
I know, I was excited. What should we do now?
What would you like to do now?
Well, I'd like to do the same thing we do every week for us.
What was that?
It's Plan to Take Over the World.
Would you like to play our favourite game in all the world?
Oh boy, would I?
Would you?
Yeah, go on then.
If I must, he says. Is it compulsory?
Noblesse oblige.
Our favourite game in all the world. I really wish we had a jingle for it.
Oh, yes. If someone's got an exciting and fantastic jingle, compose it, record it, send it in. Where do they send it into?
morruspodcast@gmail.com.
Fantastic. And then we will then stop doing the game forever and ever.
You know nobody's going to do that. But if you do.
If you do, it would be great.
Are you ready?
Yes, let's do it.
You're the first. What is the Sethregoran Empire?
Bless you. What was the name of the Kickstarter again?
The Sethregoran Empire.
One more
5th
time?
edition, in fact. Sethregoran. Do you want me to spell it for you?
Yes, please.
Double S.
Yes.
E.
Yes.
There's a lot of words that begin with double S.
Yeah, that narrows it right down.
Double S E Thregoran. If I put my hand over that, you can see the word there. Look.
Oh, weird. Okay. Well, it sounds like someone's got a bad case of made-up name-itis, which is where they think, I don't know what a name is, so I'm just going to throw some random syllables because that's how languages work. That is not how languages work. Anyway,
That's how I talk.
well, I didn't like to say but. Yeah. I don't know, polysyllabic soup, semantically meaningless.
That sounds lovely.
It's for 5th edition, so I'm going to say it's some sort of D&D thing. It's a setting, maybe even an adventure pack. Is it going to be a source book or a splat book? Yeah, probably a source book for 5th edition D&D. No, I think it's just going to be about an empire. It might be really interesting, but I certainly couldn't tell you that from the name.
Okay. So, you are right, it is a setting or a source book.
Yeah.
One of those two things. But I think naming two different things is kind of cheating.
Oh no, you'll just have to stick points. Well, don't you have a setting for this on your spreadsheet?
Well, of course I have.
You should try throwing it in SQL and put it in an Access database. That would be much better.
There's a special multiple option coefficient that gets applied to your score.
Yes, I know. I noticed all these coefficients are negative, but
there are no positive coefficients. The Sethregoran Empire.
Go on then.
So you're right, it's a setting.
Yes.
D&D 5th edition, but you got that because that was in the title.
Yeah.
It's a reptilian empire, ruled by a race of serpent men and a history spanning back over 7,000 years. It's for the Arcanist setting from Paradigm Concepts. It's been around for years, actually.
Okay.
The Arcanist setting. This is like their 5th edition versions of it. Mm-hmm. So it includes 3 new races, player options, new spells, feats and subclasses, and an entire sort of like culture, religious views, and life in this ancient nation. So
for all you Arcanist fans out there, now is the time. Sethregoran Empire, hitting Kickstarter, get in their bracket. And for everyone else, okay then.
Okay, next one.
Yes, let's do it.
Oh, I haven't given you a score for that. So after applying the coefficient,
yes.
So you originally got a C,
yes,
a C plus,
yes,
and then with the coefficient,
yep,
that C plus became 12%.
Nice. Well, I'm giving the title a solid 1 out of 5, and that's because it's got the word. No, I'll give it 2 out of 5 because I should have got the snake thing.
I would have got that from the double S. I think that sounded reptilian to me,
yeah.
But then again, I knew so.
Yeah. We.
Hindsight is.
I think for anyone who's thinking of having Russ on their podcast, he loves this game, and you should totally play it with him. He's amazing at it.
I have played it once before.
Yeah, were you amazing at it?
Might have been, might not. The only way you can find out is to listen to that podcast.
Mm-hmm. Moving swiftly on. So,
elsewhere. What is elsewhere?
Well, it's not here, I'll tell you that.
That is a sterling observation. Oh, let's look at you laughing at your own joke.
Yeah, so elsewhere, I'm getting shades of Stranger Things from that, as in the concept of the upside down, as in the concept of you've got sort of almost like a fairy / magical realm, which is not here, but it's elsewhere. Passing through the elsewhere, like which you might also have from Anne McCaffrey's Dragon Rider books with shouts of like talking about passing through the between. So it's sort of like a interstitial place in that it's between the realms of like complete fantasy and reality, and it's that sort of melding of the two. That's where it's set. I think it might be an RPG setting, but I've got one word to go on. But I find it quite evocative, so I like it.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'll give you a 5 out of 10 for that.
Woohoo!
So what it is a setting. It's for D&D 5th edition.
Okay.
But it's a planar cyberpunk setting.
Ooh. Okay.
So it's a 444-page book, which is also going to be supported by a monthly podcast.
So cyberpunk, D&D, on the planes.
So it says, elsewhere is the centre of the multiverse. And the throne space of the most powerful beings the multiverse has ever known.
Right, so we'll call it not Eberron. Yeah, crack on.
Elsewhere is a name for both the sector of space and the area in which it's located. An incredibly vast and condensed realm with extremely contrasting landscapes.
So it's very big and very small at the same time.
11 ring worlds of unfathomable sizes constantly orbit the centre of everything, a vibrant, colour-emitting singularity only known as the continuity.
Ring worlds or ring worlds?
Ring
worlds. Wow, okay. So the idea of a ring world being that it's a orbital superstructure where the orbit is around a sun and it's basically the same sort of path as a planet, like a sort of cut down Dyson sphere.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. That leaves you with unimaginable spaces to play with. But yeah. Okay, that sounds better. Crack on. And they've got several of these.
Well, no, there's one book, but there's 11 ring worlds.
11 ring worlds.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of sort of backstory text there, which I'm not going to read. Because I hate reading backstory of anything in the world ever.
It's fair. Well, I have backstory.
It is no doubt dense with fantasy words and names and stuff.
Yay!
All of which I'd have to then pronounce.
I mean,
and I can't pronounce things even when I'm not hungover.
Well, that's just one of your many endearing qualities, Russ.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next, shall we? You're not going to get this one. Well, you might do, but I don't think you will. But you might.
Okay.
But I think you won't.
Okay.
But you could. Are you ready?
Well, I'll stop giggling, yes. Please continue. What? Yeah.
Scherzando! ! Scherzando! SCHERZANDO! ! And the exclamation mark is part of it. Scherzando!
That is an interesting name. It sounds a bit like Scheherazade from the Arabian Nights, who was the lady who was getting married to the Sultan, who had to proceed to come up with lots of stories within stories, big and mastered the inner start of the cliffhanger. Scherzando. There's sort of like an Italian/Latin feel to that ending, which would indicate to me sort of an activity. So without knowing anything about it and just having the one word to go on, which is not, as far as I'm aware, a regular English word, it sounds like a storytelling game with a strong focus on action and adventure. How am I doing?
Is a storytelling game.
Yep.
It's a GM-less, diceless story game.
Okay.
The focus isn't on action and adventure, though. It's a musical tabletop role-playing game.
Oh, yeah, I should have got that from the musical term here.
It's designed to be played in a single session, 3 to 7 players. You don't need to own any instruments or know anything about music.
Yep.
Kind of setting agnostic, so you can play it in any different sort of setting.
Yeah.
But in addition to playing characters, you will also be playing music. You can do this by humming or tapping on nearby objects, or using whatever sounds you can find around you.
Russ has got a picture which appears to be of a Bob Shop quartet that are singing along quite happily while surrounded by pink floating hearts.
Yeah.
So,
or another one which is a whole bunch of people sitting in a diner or something. Okay.
Yeah.
That is it for our favourite game in all the world.
Ah,
It's all over for another week.
come on, inventors, get out there, invent more stuff, give it good titles.
Thank you for calling the Adventurers Support Line. This call may be recorded for quality assurance purposes. How can I help you?
Yes, I haven't levelled in a while. I need some help.
Oh, what level monsters are you fighting?
Well, that's the thing. I never get a chance to fight any monsters.
Interesting. Is your bard constantly seducing them out of fighting?
No, he stopped doing that ages ago. They just run away screaming the second we show up, and the quest rewards, they're just not enough to level.
Oh, that's odd. Have you picked up any magic items recently? Any sort of eldritch artifacts or demonic armour?
No, nothing like that.
Added any new party members?
Well, yeah, but why would that affect anything?
Well, it's possible that if you've got a paladin, a blackguard, or a necromancer with a strong enough magical aura, they're intimidating or frightening all your enemies away.
Oh, well, he's not any of those, though.
Oh, well, who did you add to your party?
Well, his name is Dr. Victor von Wolfhausen Smythe, and...
Yep, I see the problem here. If you're adventuring with Dr. Wolfhausen Smythe, you really need to up your game. Forget those goblins and gnolls. Head for something bigger. I recommend a Trask or one of the great old ones.
What? There's no way you could possibly stand up...
That's okay, it's okay. Just stand back, let the good doctor handle it. So as long as you're part of his party, you'll get your share of the XP.
Oh, that's a good idea. Thank you.
No problem. And thank you for calling the Adventurers Helpline. Don't forget to complete the survey after the call. Right, shall we do our topic of the week?
Topic of the week. Are we going to do a spooktacular Halloween special?
We are going to do a spooktacular Halloween special.
Oh, because I've noticed on Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG news site, or Ian World as I sometimes call it, that you've been doing a big poll.
Yeah, so I thought because it's Halloween,
Yes.
we should have a look at horror games. And I thought maybe we could sort of talk about some of our favourite horror games. And it suddenly occurred to me, why don't I ask people to vote on their favourite horror games, and we could count them down here on the podcast?
We could count them down here on the podcast. What a good idea.
So I posted the poll last week.
Yes.
We've had over 1,000 votes.
Nice.
Over 1,000 voters, because people could vote for more than one thing. Obviously, that comes to more than 1,000 votes. So what I've done is I've taken everything that scored more than 10%.
Yes.
And put a count. So there's 11 games scored more than 10%.
Nice.
Which doesn't make sense, but when you realise that people can vote for multiple things, it does make sense.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then we've got some honourable mentions which scored between 5 and 10%, and then we've got a whole bunch of ones that didn't make that great.
Which I'm sure are all absolutely fantastic, but are not quite as popular.
Yeah. So let's talk our way down this list, shall we?
Yeah, shall we start at the bottom and then save number 1 for last?
Well, let's start with the honourable mentions. So
mentions.
We don't have to go through all of these individually, but because there's several of them. So the ones that didn't quite get into the sort of top 11 were Dark Conspiracy, Fear Itself, GURPS Horror, In Nomine, Weird Wars, Ghostbusters, Shadows of Esteren, and Shadow of the Demon Lord.
Oh, okay.
So all of those honourable mention, fair showing there, but didn't quite squeeze into the top.
Okay. I think Weird Wars, that's probably the Savage Worlds one.
Possibly.
Played in Nomine, which is sort of your Angels and Demons. It's a Cold War thriller theme, but with less Cold War, but it's Angels and Demons. Look, that makes sense, damn it.
Well, the Ghostbusters is one of my favourites.
I was going to.
Sort of a horror comedy sort of thing.
Not 1986 Western Games.
Yeah, Shadow of the Demon Lord, Dark Fantasy from Robert Schwab.
Yeah, is that system neutral one?
No. That's his game system, Shadow of the Demon Lord.
Oh, okay.
Because what I've done here, these are all games. So when I posted the poll, I said no setting. So Ravenloft doesn't qualify because Ravenloft's not a game; it's a
With
as
you.
a setting for a game.
Yeah.
So all of these are, standalone independent games.
Which all do horror.
Yeah.
Nice. There's a lot of them, isn't there?
So, well, there were a lot on the poll, so I'm glad we managed to narrow it down to 11 that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, there was something like, I think, when I was filling it in earlier, there was about 50 odd.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know how many exactly.
But anyway, yes. Tell me more.
Okay, so going backwards.
Okay.
In order.
Yes.
So, I'll just check that is 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so number 11.
Number 11, yes.
Number 11 is All Flesh Must Be Eaten.
Oh, fantastic. That sounds like a zombie role-playing game.
It is a zombie role-playing game. Not only is it a zombie role-playing game, it is probably the, I think, earliest example of a zombie survival horror role-playing game which was focused entirely on the zombies.
Okay, so you don't play as a zombie, but you play as someone surviving a zombie apocalypse.
Yes. Yeah.
Strong.
This is Eden Studios. It uses their Uni system, game system. Came out in 1999. At least the first edition of it does. And like I said, it's one of the first RPGs that focuses on zombies as the sort of main aspect of survival horror.
Okay, yeah.
Other games have zombies, but this really made them central.
All zombies all the time.
Yeah.
1999. Have you played it?
I have not played it.
I have not played it either.
I have not.
Sounds like it's about zombies. If you enjoy playing with zombies, then check that out.
Yeah. So Uni system is you have attributes and skills, and you add an attribute and a skill and a D10.
Yes.
And then if you roll 9 or higher, your action succeeds.
Okay, yeah, similar to Slay Industry sort of jazz, yeah.
Yeah, possibly. So you've got attributes which represent 6 abilities: strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, perception, and willpower.
Yeah.
Then you have a bunch of skills, qualities, and drawbacks.
Fantastic.
So that is
Number 11.
Number 11.
Okay. Coming in at number 10.
Number 10, one of my personal favourites.
Oh.
Number 10 is Dredd.
Oh, I love a bit of Dredd.
I do love Dredd. Dredd, of course, having a Jenga tower as its main mechanic, and I think that works so well to make this sort of suspense element of horror.
Yes.
It really amplifies that perfectly.
Oh, yes. I'm actually running a game for that on Wednesday.
Oh, good.
Well, tonight, Halloween. Yeah,
you're going to turn the lights down. That always adds to the difficulty of playing Dredd with the Jenga tower.
Playing in the dark does actually make it more difficult. I have done this, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's that's inspired that. It's absolutely perfect. For especially if you do turn the lights down a bit and you want to do a sort of horror themed. You don't have to do horror with Dredd, but it is very, very, very good at doing horror.
And it's like building up the tension and adding the physical tension to...
Yeah, so for those who don't know, basically the resolution mechanic is every time you perform an action, which the outcome of which is in doubt, you pull a block from the Jenga tower. Yeah. And that continues throughout the game. And obviously the tension ratchets up more and more as the Jenga tower gets more and more wobbly and precarious. And eventually when someone attempts something and pulls a block and the Jenga tower tumbles, the character dies.
Yeah. Or is doomed, because sometimes people knock things over quite early and you want to keep them in the game. And then you're like, well, you're doomed. So we'll find... Yeah. I'll wait for something amusing.
That's one of those almost perfect combinations of atmosphere and mechanics, I think.
Yes, it's
works so well.
One-off horror RPGs, can't recommend it enough.
Yeah. I'm not sure you can make much of a campaign out of it, but definitely for a Halloween one-off game, without a doubt.
Very strong.
And it's very quick and easy to learn as well.
But can you play Jenga? Yes. Congratulations.
Okay, number 9.
Yeah.
Number 9 is Deadlands.
Oh, the Savage Worlds. Is that the original one? Or
presumably. Deadlands is the double check. I think we're talking the original Deadlands. Yeah. The original Deadlands from 96 from Pinnacle Entertainment Group by Shane Hensley. Won a bunch of Origin Awards.
Really interesting setting.
Has been through numerous iterations through different rule systems over the years. There's been a D20 version, there's been a GURPS one, as you just mentioned, the Savage Worlds one. This game centres on cowboys and zombies.
Absolutely, yeah. As I understand it, it's essentially when people invaded America to colonize it and so forth, Native American shamans unleashed a spirit of Wendigo, which essentially turned it into a bit of a Weird West.
Yeah. So it's a Weird West setting. So it's sort of real world history up until July the 3rd, 1863.
Okay.
And then in this fictional universe, a group of American Indians perform this ritual to drive out the European settlers. And this creates a conduit to a spiritual realm with a load of malicious entities. And from then on, these reckoners, these entities, are trying to turn Earth into a sort of haunted wasteland.
Right.
So zombies versus cowboys is essentially the sort of elevator pitch of that one.
Well, indeed, that's that. Cowboys versus terrifying ghosts.
Well, yeah. So you could be gunfighters, lawmen, hucksters, shamans, mad scientists.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I never had a chance to play it myself, but looks good.
Yeah, well, I played the original years and years ago. I haven't played the Savage Worlds version or the G20 version.
It's all quite poker themed, as I understand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, card-based mechanics and poker decks and stuff and chips. So yeah, and it's one of those games again, like we just said with Dredd with Jenga. The sort of the card-based mechanics and the poker chips and stuff really kind of add to the actual setting itself while you're playing it. Another one of those sort of synthesis of mechanic and setting.
Yeah.
Next on the list.
Coming in at number 9.
Okay, so number 9 on the list
Yep.
is a horror role-playing game based on sort of 20th century horror films.
Oh, okay.
Called Chill.
Right.
So this one came out originally in 1984 with other iterations in 90 and 2015. Percentile based. You belong to an organisation called SAVE. SAVE, and their job is to sort of track down and eliminate the sort of vampires and werewolves, ghosts, ghouls, and stuff like that.
Things that go bump in the night. Basically.
Things that go bump in the night. Yes, yeah. SAVE stands for Societas Argentae Via Eternitata.
Okay, that's not a backronym, honest.
Or the Eternal Society of the Silver Way.
And
it's a secret society dedicated to protecting innocents from the creatures of the unknown. And your characters are called envoys.
Good to know.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's got a quasi-religious theme. No?
Nah, werewolves, goblins, not really. It's
For the characters. Better. It's all that Latin, making me think that. But please, I'm clearly wrong. Let's crack on.
Right then, next, number 8 is a Swedish RPG called Kult, K-U-L-T.
Okay.
So it's a contemporary horror RPG. It's kind of known for being a sort of mature and sort of controversial content and stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I'm expecting, when you say it's a Swedish RPG, I'm expecting a different sort of feel to it. Less shenanigans.
Shenanigans. It's a good word.
Less shenanigans and wacky hijinks.
I always like that word.
And more serious dramaturgical roleplay.
So it was originally published in 1991 in Sweden. The first English edition, 1993.
Okay.
So it's modern day. You take the roles of sort of private investigators and vigilantes and femme fatales and drug dealers and secret agents and mad scientists and stuff. Yep. And the sort of premise of this game is the world is like this illusion.
Ooh.
Just sort of held together by this sort of mass belief, which is unraveling. And there's this darker backdrop to reality where these sort of monsters and things sort of lurk. And that's called the reality.
Oh, okay.
Sort of hidden behind the veil or the illusion.
Oh, okay. One-day supernatural role-playing, focusing more on war in the heavens than vampires and werewolves.
Yeah, yeah.
Never having played it. That's
I've never played it either myself. Yeah,
no,
it's got a good reputation.
No? Yeah.
Okay, so that is Cult.
Okay, we've got coming in at number 7.
Knights Black Agents is number 7.
Oh, I've heard of this one.
Gumshoe system from Pelgrane Press. So basically, you pay very competent sort of pseudo-military investigative agents who hunt vampires.
Right.
In a very competent way.
Yes, methodical.
Yeah, it uses the Gumshoe system, which is an investigative system, which is kind of based on the premise that when there's clues to be found and stuff, there's no doubt over whether or not you're going to find them. The game is about interpreting them rather than finding the clues.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of, it pushes straight forward through that, plows through their sort of.
I think it's where a lot of fail forwards ideas.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah.
So Night Black's Agents, Ken Hite, I believe, wrote that one, and it's kind of mature-ish, dark themed. I suppose if you want to start hunting vampires with ultraviolet weapons and military hardware,
the old silver tip bullets. Hollow tips packed with silver water.
Yeah, I've got that outside. I've never actually had opportunity to play it, but I've got it upstairs, and it's it's a great read.
Oh, okay. I shall have to have a look.
Yeah. Number 6 on the list. A 1998 role-playing game of power and consequences, an occult-themed game called Unknown Armies.
Oh, that's one of those games which everyone talks about how they played that one game that one time and it was amazing. And no, I've never seen anyone run it. I've never been in a game of it, so I'm forced to take people's words for it that it's like amazing.
Okay.
Is this the one with Esoterrorists, or is that a different one?
No, that's a different thing. This is a game which is set in the modern day, and there's this sort of occult underground. And there's all these sort of like shadowy practitioners of magic and cabals and things like that.
Yep.
I don't know if you're familiar with any of these sort of novels, but Tim Powers, James Elroy, David Lynch you'll have heard of, obviously.
Oh,
the Illuminatus trilogy.
Yeah, Tim Powers. I can't remember the name of it, but it was sort of he's sort of the John le Carré to Charles Stross's Len Dayton, that sort of thing. Yeah.
So it's a percentile dice system, and you play either a mundane, an avatar, or an adept.
Okay.
The latter two sort of have these sort of mystical abilities. And are kind of a bit more linked in with that occult underground thing.
Yeah.
An avatar, you channel this archetype, which is a sort of cultural role.
Yeah.
So you might be like a hunter or a demagogue.
Oh, that's very Jungian, channeling collective subconscious. Yeah.
Adepts, on the other hand, they have spells which are connected to obsessions, and they power themselves with activities related to their obsession.
Okay.
And mundanes, I'm guessing here, is just sort of normal people.
Yeah.
But you spend your points on sort of skills and aspects and stuff instead.
Yes. Less medical, but probably better at some things involved in the real world.
Yeah. Number 4 is Trail of Cthulhu. So this, Pelgrane Press?
Press? Yeah.
Pelgrane Press, again.
Oh, yes, because they did Night Black's Agent and more Cthulhu.
So it's more Cthulhu and it's the gumshoe system again.
Oh, okay.
So this is kind of like a gumshoe version of Call of Cthulhu. So it's based on Lovecraft, set during the 1930s. And it's got the Cthulhu mythos going on in the background.
With you. So again, it's like got that fail forward. It's about interpreting the clues.
Yeah, so you control an investigator and you sort of slowly uncover the dark background behind the setting.
So again, designed by Ken Hite and presumably Robin Laws?
Yeah, Ken Hite, Robin Laws, Jerome, I don't know how to pronounce his name, unfortunately. Jerome Hugrenin and Simon Rogers.
Fantastic.
That came out in 2008. Investigative horror game.
But this one's set in the 1930s, and you're like more of your standard Cthulhu investigator, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is basically under license from Chaosium. So it's very, very sort of linked into the original Call of Cthulhu.
Nice.
Okay, so that was...
taking us up to number 3, I think.
That was number 4. So next we have number 3. We're getting into some of the really big names now because this one would be, and this has all got combined into one thing, the entire World of Darkness.
There we go. Yeah. Well, there's like...
So whether a vampire, a mage, a werewolf, or one of many iterations.
Promethean.
World of Darkness is one of the quintessential horror games. Been around for years. Most everybody's probably played it.
Yeah. Well, if you haven't, then you should definitely look into it.
And it was especially very big back in the 90s.
Oh yeah, huge.
And it's still big today, but back then it was enormous.
Big alternative to D&D.
Yeah, it was a White Wolf game, which I think certainly in my circles back in the 90s, it definitely sort of D&D was kind of falling out of favour, and World of Darkness was a bit more popular at the time. Yeah,
new kid on the block, fresh, edgy.
Yeah, I mean, it's been known for being edgy. Sometimes it goes too far. Sometimes it gets embroiled in a little bit of controversy over the sort of attempt at edginess that it as it goes for. But it's one of those sort of legacy games that's been around for ages now, and it deserves its spot in this chart, definitely.
Absolutely, because you had White Wolf and it's split off. You got Onyx Path.
I haven't played a World of Darkness game since the 90s.
Is it? Oh, I'm in a Mage the Awakening game.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's going on Thursday nights.
Enjoying it?
Yeah, it's been pretty good actually.
Yeah.
One of the local gyms and the clubs running it on a sort of off night. I'm like, yeah, go on then. I'll play that. Because I've done more vampire LARPing.
Yeah.
To be honest, than actual vampire. And the only vampire game I played was with the new World of Darkness setting. And I just didn't find it as satisfying or interesting as the old vampire setting. But the rules were much better, so potato.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're up to the top 2 now.
What's coming at number 2?
Top 2.
Bum, bum, bum.
It's getting tense, isn't it?
Super tense.
Yeah, it's getting super tense. Number 2 is Delta Green.
Wow.
So Delta Green originally was a setting for Call of Cthulhu.
Yep.
Is now also a standalone RPG, which kickstarted back in sort of 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
And has released, I think, last year, I think? I can't remember exactly when it was released.
They've won an NE for Best Rule Set, so that's pretty good.
Yeah. So Delta Green is a sort of contemporary thing. It starts sort of late in the 90s and up till sort of Monday times. And you play sort of Delta Green agents who work undercover, just fighting the sort of...
it's gone through a couple of iterations in its internal storyline. I think it was a disavowed government agency.
Yeah, they kind of went rogue, sort of thing.
And then they've been folded back into the US government at some point.
Yeah, there was a sequel called The Fall of Delta Green, which delves back into the sort of history back in the 1960s when that actually happened. But the contemporary setting is sort of long after that, and the organisation is kind of secretive and
flies around in black helicopters.
Yeah. Yes, and no doubt wears black all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially in suits.
Yeah. So basically you've got sort of like organised investigations into paranormal crime and horror.
Have you played this?
I have never played this. No.
I've never played this either. I've actually run and played a couple of games of The Laundry, which I would describe as Charles Stross's take on it, but I know for a fact he never played Delta Green or read anything by Tim Powers before he started writing that. But yeah, it's good stuff.
Well, Delta Green got 6 NEs in 2018 this year.
Yeah.
In February this year, of course, we mentioned this before on the podcast, Pelgrane Press released The Fall of Delta Green, which is the Vietnam era game, which tells you about how that organisation lost favour.
Absolutely. And that sounds like a different time, and there's a lot of opportunity for interesting role-playing.
Yeah.
So, Russ, don't keep us waiting.
What could possibly be the number 1 horror RPG?
Well, let's see. Well, we've had some Cthulhu, and we've had some Cthulhu.
And we've had some Cthulhu, yes.
So could it be that the number 1 horror game has voted for by fans of Morris's unofficial tabletop role-playing game news? Could it be Call of Cthulhu?
With 72.95% of people.
Yeah. Or voting for it.
Admittedly, you could choose more than one thing. That doesn't mean it got 72% of the entire vote, but 72% of people chose it as one of their options.
It's the best known game that people recommend.
But this way, Delta Green got 42. It was the next highest. Call of Cthulhu, 72% of people chose it as one of their top RPG games. So Call of Cthulhu is by a wide margin the most popular horror RPG, and that is, quite frankly, no surprise. I'd have been amazed if anything else had happened.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I have played Call of Cthulhu. I also voted for Call of Cthulhu, and I've enjoyed my games in it.
Yeah, I mean, I've not played it since our last campaign, which ended, I think it was about a year ago now. I can't remember when it ended now, but we played about a year and a half playing the Masks of Nyarlathotep.
That's one, yeah.
However you pronounce it.
Absolutely. Well, so what you're saying is you played it much more recently than you played your last World of Darkness game.
Very much more recently, yes.
Indeed.
By an order of 20 years. We were playing over at Angus's house, a sort of 18-month campaign. Didn't get to the end of it, unfortunately, because
that's
scheduling issues, because it was so hard to get everyone together on Tuesday nights.
Sad times.
Yeah, but we did play for 18 months or so, and I went through 3 or 4 characters, I think.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that tends to happen. One of them was a silver screen actor who used to go around saying, "Don't you know who I am?" to everybody. Then we used to make a sort of credit check to find out whether people recognise me, and almost invariably the answer was no.
No, I don't know who you are.
And the other one was a mad scientist, which I made sort of 1920s Doc Brown.
Nice.
Which I thought was kind of fun.
So what happened to them?
They died.
Yeah.
No, one of them died and one went mad. And I can't remember which was which. Yeah, the actor died, fell off the side of a fuel tank when we were trying to blow something up to try and take out some monstrosity, because we thought that was the only way we could defeat them. And he essentially died doing that.
Yeah.
Whereas the mad scientist went insane and went over to the bad guys and then joined in this sacrificial cult and I think killed one of the other players. I can't remember now.
Died Insane Survived. It's a great game to play with Call of Cthulhu characters.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yeah. No, I do like Call of Cthulhu. Totally deserves its place at the top of that chart.
Absolutely.
Without doubt, the classic horror tabletop RPG.
It's good times, man. Good times. Yeah.
What would you say is your favourite one then? So we know what the community's voted. What would you say is your personal favourite?
Oh, well, I mean, the thing is, things like the Laundry RPG based off the books, I think I'd probably go with that. Because I do that for a campaign setting.
Yeah.
For proper horror, I'd have to say Dredd, just from my personal experience.
I think I'm with you there. I think it'd be a cross between Dredd and Ghostbusters for me. Obviously, Ghostbusters is a more comedy horror.
Well, we'll just have to do things sometime. You can run Ghostbusters for me, and I'll run Savage Worlds for you. How about that?
Yeah, sure.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay then. Well, that was Horror Games.
It was. Have a fantastic Halloween, and hope to speak to you all next week.
Okay.
What have we got coming up next week?
Oh, we got a special episode next week. We've got 2 special episodes coming up.
What? Get out.
Actually, we've got 4 special episodes coming up.
What, you mean we know what we're doing for like a month in advance?
That's a bit weird, isn't it? So why don't you... Right, who have we got next week, Peter?
Well, I've invited the talented Grant Harrott and Christopher Taylor on.
Excellent.
Creators of Honey Heist, Adventure Skeletons. Oh, and a little game that's making a bit of a splash at the moment called The Spire.
Yeah.
The one where you have dark elf terrorists trying to, or freedom fighters I should call them, trying to seize back control of their home spire from the invading high elves.
Yeah, so they'll be joining us for the full episode next week.
Looking forward to it.
The week after, we have Rodney Thompson, who you may know from Lords of Waterdeep, D&D 5th edition, Dusk City Outlaws,
No way.
and his current Kickstarter, Spectaculars,
Fantastic.
which is a superhero RPG.
Wow.
So he'll be on the week after, and then the following 2 weeks we'll be delving into the 2 upcoming Wizard of the Coast D&D releases. So we'll be looking at Dungeon of the Mad Mage 1 week,
Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica.
Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica the following week.
Loving it.
Yeah, so we're all booked up for the next month. That's amazing.
What? That's crazy.
That's the first time we've ever known what we're doing, even next week, let alone a month in advance.
It's
almost like you had this bright idea to suddenly put up a spreadsheet.
better applying through spreadsheets.
Who knew that the key to successful podcasting was a spreadsheet?
And me laughing at my own jokes for several minutes at a time.
Also. So I think that's probably it for this week. So thank you all so much for listening. Please do support us via Patreon if you can. That's at patreon.com/Morrus, because it helps keep this podcast going. Absolutely. It's not cheap. You have to pay Darryl every week. Yeah. And we do enjoy doing it, but it does cost us money. So if you could just throw $1 in, we'd be super grateful. And you do also, as well as that wonderful feeling of having done what can only be described as the right thing, you also get access to our special bonus content.
What?
Which is additional scenes, alternate takes on our sketches, all sorts of extra content.
We won't describe it as bloopers because that would be accurate.
But there are some bloopers in there also, just for your amusement.
And also those fine times when we go off on an incredible tangent and we make ourselves laugh. So if you fancy buying us the equivalent of a pint, then get onto Patreon and please accept.
So thank you so much for listening. I think that is it for this week. So it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
Absolutely. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
that was quite simply the worst podcast I have ever had the misfortune to listen to. Somebody will need to be punished, but I can't decide whether to use the thumbscrews on them, on their disgusting hands, or if I should simply throw one of them in the moat.